There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Well, good evening and welcome to another edition of Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, and with me, my good friend, Mr. Tim Dennis. Good evening, Tim Dennis.
Hey, diddle diddle.
How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad.
Well, for those of you tuning in tonight, we will apologize up front. You can't email in questions because this is pre-recorded. We're actually, it's really Monday. We're using our Wayback Machine right now. That's right. We're pre-recording. That's the kind of guys we are. But we wanted to give you a brand new show to listen to this Sunday. Meanwhile, Tim and I are back in transit, coming back from the Eastern State Penitentiary trip, which I'm sure, let's use time travel. Boy, was that a great trip. Can you believe we saw all those headless ghosts?
That was fabulous. And you know what the downside of the trip was for me?
Headless ghosts?
They had to run me into the emergency room to clean out my impacted colon from all those cheesesteaks.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Tim's dreaming of cheesesteaks for our big trip. We're going to go ghost hunting at one of the most paranormal spots in the world, and the man wants to eat cheesesteak.
I know.
You scare me.
And I want to run up those steps and have a heart attack right in front of Rocky's statue.
I'm trying to pull up real quick, too. There was a crazy news story I wanted to get to before we launch into this evening's show, which is a good one. But let me see if I can pull this up. Well, one thing was I noticed that there's a new article coming out about the Phoenix Lights that I would like to get to on a future show here. I mean, we might even talk about that in the second hour when we're talking to Heidi about shadow people and her beliefs that they're connected to ufology and aliens. So we'll be covering into that, and I can't for the life of me find this other story, so I apologize. I'll try to pull that up again later. But stay with us for the second hour. Heidi Hollis will be here, and Heidi's going to talk to us about shadow people and her thoughts, and she did a book on shadow people as well that we'll discuss. It's going to be an interesting show. We've talked about on each show, we talk a little bit about the trips that we have coming up, and one of the trips that we are looking forward to doing is Waverly Hills, and that comes up.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky, and that comes up in August here, and we hope that you'll join us. For more information on that, you can go to our website at darknessevents.com, click on the Waverly Hills tab, and it'll take you in there, show you how you can order tickets to attend with us. And that kind of led me into why we're going to have our guests on for the first hour tonight, not as an advertisement for our trip, but more as history and to talk about some other real-life experiences that have happened at Waverly Hills. And a good friend of ours in the show, Mr. Chip Coffey, is with us. Good evening, Chip.
Mr. Dave, it's good to be here with you again.
Thank you very much. And you brought along a very special friend with us this evening. Is that right?
I did bring along a very special friend. She is probably one of the most phenomenal people I know. She's been ghost hunting for 1,000,001 years, although we won't tell her age. But I brought along the phenomenal Patti Starr with me.
Yay, Patti Starr. Welcome to the
Dave.
darkness.
Hey, Tim. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks a lot for joining us here. It's been a long time coming. I know we've wanted to find the right time to bring you on the show and talk to you, and I thought it'd be nice to have Chip kind of bring you on and be a part of the show with us this evening, and then we'll have you again back in the future where we can just have you on, and then we can talk catty about Chip behind his back.
Yay!
Oh, I like that.
Okay. We'll spread rumors.
Yeah.
So now, Patti, you are the president and the owner of Ghost Chasers International, Inc., correct?
Yes.
And that's based there in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, Chip, are you actually a member of Ghost Chasers with Patti?
I am absolutely a member of Ghost Chasers International with Patti.
Are you the vice president and co-owner of Ghost?
I am absolutely not that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No, I'm not. No, I actually do a lot of the media things for the organization, and
so you're the paranormal poster child for this? Is that what you're saying?
I am the paranormal poster child for Ghost Chasers. That would be me.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do without Chip. I mean, he is a real asset, let me tell you.
Wow, I'm glad you said asset, because otherwise we would have had to been running the beep button here.
Well, I was going to say the first syllable might be right.
Now, you two have been working together for how long, though?
Actually, Patti and I met on an internet porn site quite a while ago.
Excellent.
Stop it.
That's how Tim and I met. That's
I
great.
thought that was it.
Yes.
Stop it.
Actually, that's what I tell everybody when if you could meet Patti, and you will, I'm sure, in person someday. She's this petite little Southern Belle lady, and you know, I tell everybody I met her on a porn site. In reality, we met on a paranormal website and started talking. And interestingly enough, we discovered that we grew up in the same area of South Carolina, although didn't know each other at the time. And there have been so many synchronicities and similarities in our lifestyle since we met. Gosh, Patti, I guess we met in the early part of 2002, so we're going on 6 years of knowing each other together.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it just keeps getting better, let me tell you.
Well, Patti, now, one thing that interests me, and I always get nervous when I ask these questions because I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're under attack on our show. But, one bone of contention a lot of people have is people that are certified ghost hunters. Because how does one become a certified ghost hunter, and who gives the authority to the people that certify you? Now, I know it's Dave and Sharon, right, founders of IGHS, the International Ghost Hunter Society, that you were certified through?
Yeah, in 1999.
Right.
I've been talking with them and communicating with them for about 3 years before I actually took the leap. I thought, well, this is because I wanted to do this as a profession. Mm-hmm. And so I figured if I'm going to do this as a profession, at that time it was very difficult to find any type of training.
Right.
I wanted to at least let people know that I was serious enough to further my education and to seek out some type of certification. And that's what I tell people today. I'm constantly. I guess that's one of the major questions that I get asked is like, well, who are you? And, what gives you the right to certify? And it's not so much what gives me the right to certify. It's more like
Now, you do certification courses as well?
Pardon me?
You do certification courses as well?
Yes, and I've heard some horror stories about what has happened to people that have gone into, they wake up one day and they go, you know what, I think I'm going to be a ghost hunter. And without any training, without any research, they just, grab a camera or whatever, and they get out there. And some of the horror stories that I'm hearing from people of what these people do, I thought, oh my gosh, if I could just get out there and help train or help just get them started in the right direction. And it's like a template, what I do. I don't say, hey, this is the way I go hunt, and this is the way everybody should go hunt. It's mostly a template, and it at least gives you a foundation of what we do, why we do it, and just some of the equipment and things that you can use. Like I tell people, like with Chip and I, we always say that we're the science and the sensitive because we want to bring it all together, make it a well-rounded experience. And so that's basically why I do it. It's not like who are you. It's I just feel the need to have people show that special interest enough to educate themselves, and it shows the world too. You call someone and say, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to work with you. I'm a certified ghost hunter, and they're like, oh, well, you must be serious.
Right.
And the other thing, can I kick in something there for a second?
No, Chip, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
One of the things that I was going to say is that I think that I became certified as a ghost hunter through Patti, as a paranormal investigator. Through Patti.
Tim, I told you he was certifiable.
Somebody's told you the truth, let me tell you. But one of the things that I found was I came into this thinking I knew things and really didn't know as much as I thought I knew about the process and the procedures. And Patti, who's been doing this, if we can call Lorraine Warren the kind of the queen of the paranormal. I think Patti's at least a duchess or a princess because she's been doing this. She's been doing this for the better part of 3 decades. So there's the debate out there about whether you get certified, who's a professional, whatever. And, I think longevity and experience and the education that we can gain in going out and actual doing this, I was willing to offer myself over to Patti for her tutelage to teach me exactly what it was that she knew, so I could gain that experience.
Sure.
And not have to invest, 30 years in getting it.
Well, now, and again, I'm, nobody's under attack. I just am curious because personally, I think there should be a few of, I wouldn't mind Lloyd Auerbach, John Zaffis, some of the big names that I'm familiar with, being a teacher, getting some money to show people the right way to go out and ghost hunt, or at least educate them into the best way. Because, Patti, you kind of hit it on the, the nail on the head, and we've been preaching this complaint for the last year and a half. I mean, I love the guys from Ghost Hunters, and Chris from Dead Famous and Patrick from Haunting Evidence, but now it seems every goofball with a tape recorder and a camera thinks they're, a professional ghost hunter because they've watched it on TV.
And if they've seen The Exorcist, they think they're a demonologist.
Exactly. So a lot of people are out there running around, and, I don't mind having an interest. I mean, that's what got us doing our show, right? You have an interest in the paranormal.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, the difference between what Tim and I do and what somebody like you do, when you go to somebody's house, they called you in because they need help.
Right.
You're not coming in there to prove to yourself that there's paranormal and go, wow, score, we got a really cool EVP. Okay, see you later.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of these new groups are doing. They're going out just to see cool stuff and spook each other and get scary stuff on video and audio tape. So I have no problem in the certification process, but I know a lot of my listeners, they always want to know, well, like with Dave and Sharon, who trained them? What gave them the knowledge? But, then it's like, well, who trained Hans Holzer and who trained, Richard Sennett and the Warrens? You immerse yourself in this field, you learn. It's like any sales job or any job. You learn the job. Once you know what you're doing, you get moved up to a management position to train others to do this.
That's right.
So,
no, that's excellent. I love that explanation. That is excellent.
Yeah, so I've never had a problem with that. I don't understand, and maybe you guys can shed a little light on it with a little Southern love there. Why do you think people are so pissed off about anybody making $1 off the paranormal field?
Well...
I mean, you got to find that. That's, I think, the number one reason people get irritated with, like, the IGHS certification course. You have to pay $199 or $299 to go through the certification course and get a certificate. And then everybody's question is, well, there is really no professionals in this field, so who had the right to certify you?
It's interesting you bring that up because I put a blog on MySpace about that recently, about the whole issue of...
How did we survive without MySpace?
I don't know. I mean, what did we do before computers and all this stuff? I'm old enough to remember the days before. You guys aren't, but...
Is that when you and Patti used to have the 2 tin cans and some string?
Yeah. Writing on stone tablets, and all that good stuff. But the one thing that I wrote was, is it appropriate to charge for a paranormal investigation? And when do you call yourself a professional? I believe that at some point in time, you've got to look at all the various aspects of it. Are we providing a service that people consider valuable? Should we be reimbursed for our expenses if we're expected to travel over a certain distance and stay overnight and feed ourselves while we're on these investigations? Are we a charitable organization, or are we professionals that are looking at doing this as a career and devoting our time and our energies to it? So there's all those questions that come into play. And why shouldn't people make money? I mean, we're in a capitalist society.
Well, I think where it comes into, where the sticky wicket is on that, Chip, is the fact that, you get these guys that go, Ghostbusters. Yeah, we're gonna charge you $150. I guarantee you, we're gonna get these ghosts out of your house. They come into your house, and Patti, how many professional ghost hunters do you know that can guarantee that they're going to be able to go into a house and rid it?
Well, for one thing, I have never in my whole career charged.
Oh, right.
To go into a home and do ghost hunting. The way I make my living, when I decided to do this professionally, the way I make my living is I teach a course at the local community college. I teach 4 courses. I've been there 7 years.
Sure.
And it's all with the paranormal. It's with ghost hunting, dowsing, and that kind of thing. I have a shop that is getting pretty popular now, not just an online shop, but a shop in my little town. I also do the Ghost Walk in Bardstown, and I also do the college tours with Chip, and then I do library seminars, and then I do for event directors for big companies like Lexmarks and things like that. I do these big dinners, and that's the way I make my money. I make my money on sharing with the world what I've actually captured, which they find very intriguing and interesting. But as far as actually going in and doing a ghost investigation or going in and try to cleansing a house or trying to send the spirits on or something like that, no, there'd be no way I would charge for that.
Right,
now,
and I think that's where a lot of people
do, and I don't condemn them for it. But I just feel like I don't know. I just never felt like that's where I would need to make my money.
Right, but you could see that, though. I mean, that, I think, is where, because, Chip, and you know this, in this field, there's a lot of screwballs. And, I can't pull any punches. We all know them. There's a lot of people out there that are really going to take advantage of a situation, and they will take advantage of a lot of people that think that they've got a ghost in their house when all it is loose plumbing, pipe banging in the wall. They get in there and tighten it up when nobody's paying attention and charge $150 and gas money in a hotel for the night. I think that's where it starts to get to be kind of, where you have to watch it. I mean, if it we're not the Ghostbusters. Nobody can run in with their little trap and snap and catch a ghost and then prove that it's in there. So I think that's where a lot of people, have said you can't charge for this because it's impossible to prove that. First of all, it's impossible to actually prove ghosts exist.
Right.
You can catch evidence and do certain things, but it's impossible to really prove it to anybody.
Right.
But then to go in and do this.
There are those people that also they don't want to get rid of their ghosts. They just want to know that they're not crazy.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is a hot and highly debated topic. So I really think that the only thing that's going to come out of this, as far as an answer goes, is those people that feel like they want to charge, they are going to charge. If there's some expense attached to what they're doing, they're going to find a way to make money off of it. Personally, I've never charged either for going on an investigation. Yes, I've been reimbursed for expenses if I've had to drive for several hours or stay overnight, and I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to ask. I don't mind putting out a certain amount of money to go out and help someone, but if it's an inordinate expense, it costs money. Gas is $3.25 a gallon.
Yeah.
So there are those things. There are those issues.
All right, I do agree with you on that. Now, and on that kind of stuff, I can see. But like I said, I think where a lot of people, the real contention is that it's making promises. It's like, it's the equivalent of, and this being a sensitive yourself, there's a lot of people that claim to be psychics and sensitives that tell you, oh, you've got a horrible curse on you. You need to send me $200 and I'll burn it over a candle for you and you'll be set free.
God.
And there, that's kind of how this looks to a lot of people when you charge for a ghost hunt, because first of all, it may be nothing. And, you may give them the peace of mind that you found that it was a creaky door because one of the hinges was unloose, and you tighten it back up. But even the carpenter wouldn't have charged $150 to come out and tighten a screw. So, that's where I think it comes into, I think, I don't begrudge people like you, Patti, that you go out, you do these things for free, but then the knowledge that you gain from it and the stories that you collect, you put into books to sell, or you put into seminars to talk and entertain people and give them what they want, because people want to hear these talks. I mean, it's obvious. So that I'm totally cool with, and I think most people are. It's just been such a strange field, because Tim and I sit back and scratch our heads. We put together these trips all the time, and when they find out that we actually make a few dollars on each trip, they're mortified, and we're raping the ignorant and taking advantage and taking money from stupid people. Right. And we figure if we're not going to take it from the stupid people, who will? No, just kidding.
Oh, no.
Just kidding.
I don't believe he went there.
Oh, come on.
I was just about to say something. Now, it's like it blew me away. No. I was running across a little bit of that, like when planning stuff, a little concerned about, if I make money off of this, what's going to be said. So what I started doing is when I started... what I do now is anytime I promote anything, if I'm going to make some money off of it, I do it in a promotion mode. I let people know that this is a promotion.
Right.
And I remind people that know me and are that I send these emails out to, that this is what I do for a living, folks, and yes, I will be making a profit off of this. So
And that's funny. I mean,
that's
anybody
the way
that's been to our events, and Chip can attest, I'm on the go from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Running and making sure that everything runs smoothly so everybody
right.
that paid to come to this event is having a
Right.
good time. But a lot of people seem to discount it because it's, you shouldn't be charging for the paranormal. You shouldn't be charging for this. Now, I'm curious, going to places, let's talk about this. You've investigated places like Waverly. We've been to the Queen Mary and done other events, and Chip's been with us to the Stanley. What are your guys' thoughts? Is it not ethical to take money to go watch ghosts on exhibit? I mean, basically, we're taking people to a ghost zoo.
Here's my thought on that matter. If there's an interest in it and people want it, it's supply and demand.
Sure.
Really, that's the bottom line of it. And as a psychic and a medium, we've had this conversation in the past. Dave, you and I have about what is the actual purpose of doing that, and whether or not we want to agree with this. Part of it is entertainment. I mean, a great part of it is we're entertaining the public, and no matter what their belief system is. And it's another form of escape. It's a form of entertainment. And so as far as putting on these events, why not? I mean, those who are naysayers about it, if you don't, it's kind of like watching television. You don't like the channel, turn the damn channel.
Right. I agree. I was just curious, what your thoughts were on that, because it is, that's one thing that Tim and I have wrestled with, is feeling bad for the spirits that are there. Are we taking advantage of, an untimely death, a trapped soul, a spirit that hasn't learned to cross over? Because, Tim and I have actually spent time praying in rooms to try to clear them afterwards. Not of ghosts, just of our own smell. But no, we try to clear the rooms and set free whatever wants to be set free. And what's her name? Erica Frost from the Queen Mary made a very interesting comment, and we'll take a break after this. But she made an interesting comment when I was on our ghost tour a couple of weeks ago, and I asked, do these spirits ever want to move on? Did you ever think to send them on? And she said, the one young sailor that hangs out down by the door where he was crushed, his answer to her when she asked was, no, I'm famous here. So, to me, that's interesting that the spirits would actually know that.
I have been told similar information as well. Sometimes you have to be very careful. You're dealing with karma here, and maybe it is their karma to reside just a little bit longer within the Earth's plane, because they are still learning a lesson that they need to learn before they go on. So you want to be sort of careful in stepping into that, where I'm going to send everybody on into the light. Sometimes you start learning that there's other reasons, and then you also learn that there's other energies out there that want to help you prove to other people that it exists. Like on my ghost walk, I have people that will go into the tavern, and I will ask the sweet spirits if they can show us that they do exist by turning out the light, and the light will go off, or open the door and the door will open, or just swing the chandelier and the chandelier will swing. And people say, you've got this place, rigged. And I'm like, no, I don't. But I'm not asking them to do that as if I'm treating them like a circus act. I just know that they want to help me prove to the world that there is a spirit world and intelligence.
That's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and, that is good, and I guess that helps me a little bit. And the only reason that we do it, as I said, I don't believe that I'm necessarily the great spirit communicator that I can cross them over, on my own will, but, I certainly do what I feel. At least it helps Tim and I feel a little bit better that we're not just there taking advantage of situations. We can, we say a prayer and say, God, and if there's anybody here, because that's, that's what we do. Yeah, if there's anybody here that wants to be released, just come through here real quick. We're inviting you in, come through, collect whoever wants to go and take the fast track back.
There you go.
So that's what we've been, trying to work on. But that is an interesting theory. We're going to take a quick break, though. First one of the hour. You're listening to Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show with our guests, Patti Starr and Chip Coffey. We'll be back with them and more right after this.
Are UFOs real? Does Bigfoot exist? Was Emily Rose really possessed? Who is the next American Idol?
She bangs, oh baby, when she moves,
Thank you. Thank you.
We try to answer these questions and more each week on The Darkness on the Edge of Town.
For 58 years, Fate has consistently supplied its loyal readership with a broad array of true reports of the strange and unknown. Fate is a factual magazine containing articles by experts in all walks of life, and by others just like you who have something dynamic, significant, and truthful to say. Keep up with the latest on angels and miracles, psychic phenomena, ghosts, UFOs, archaeological hotspots, alternative science, and much, much more. To receive your free Fate magazine, call now at 1-800-728-2730 or visit our website at www.fatemag.com. That's 1-800-728-2730 or www.fatemag.com. What are you waiting for? Your fate awaits.
Are you tired of reading about what couple in Hollywood is breaking up or divorcing? Have you ever wondered where you can find the news that covers the subjects that you are really interested in? I would like to invite you to visit supernaturalnews.com. Supernatural News uses the latest internet technology to search for the topics we know you will be interested in reading. News of the latest Bigfoot, UFO, or Loch Ness Monster sightings. Read about the latest conspiracy theories and urban legends. Supernatural News, where belief and reality merge.
They're hardly beautiful and barely average. In fact, when they were both born, the doctor slapped their moms instead of them.
I will slap you so hard you end up in the Ming Dynasty.
Welcome back to the darkness on the edge of town with Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis.
Good evening and welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in with us. We're here with you every Sunday night from 10 to midnight Central Time. If this is your first time tuning in, we appreciate you listening in with us. And if you're here with us every week, we really appreciate that. And we thank you all for spending your Sunday nights with us. Or if you download us and listen to us during the week, that's awesome too. Let us know. Drop us a note at dave@darknessradio.com. Tell us that what you think of the show. If there's things you'd like to hear different, if there's things that you'd like to hear explored more, what is it that you want from your paranormal show? Give us a call. Or email us at dave@darknessradio.com or tim@darknessradio.com. We're always there, and we will answer our emails. We look forward to hearing from you. We're going to get back into tonight's show, where our guests are Mr. Chip Coffey and the lovely Miss Patti Starr, and we are going to talk a little bit more. Now, Tim had a quick question before we move on to the different destinations, but he brought up a good question with the certification and classes and things. Go ahead, Tim.
I was just kind of brainstorming, guys, and that's rare for me. I was just saying to myself, you've got certification for ghost hunting, and you talk about the paranormal field in general. There's parapsychology degrees out there that you can obtain from certain universities. Why isn't ghost hunting itself part of some sort of academic curriculum where you could get the actual degree from a university? And why do you think it's not looked at as a legitimate science at certain universities?
Well, just like with everything else, ghost hunting is not an absolute science. So I think it's because of the variations. Even though we do categorize a lot of our hauntings, we may say, well, there's different types of haunting. Like there's the poltergeist haunting, the portal haunting, the crisis haunting, the intelligent haunting, the residual haunting, and then you have your different spirits and things that you get into as well. But then it seems that people that have done this for a while, they can even have different opinions about what all of this means as well. So it's like we just don't have anything that's so solid. We can't do an experiment over and over and over and over and have it come out the same way each time so that we can say this actually exists. And for me, I think that might be where it is, so hard to, to get the academic world to look at it seriously instead of like a hobby or like a cake baking or, whatever. So.
And I will kick in on that and say that I agree with you 100%. Wouldn't it be great if there was some legitimate academic institute or something that would offer this as, even based under philosophy or some category that wasn't necessarily scientific, or if there was a way that it could be offered to where there was a more standardized approach to teaching this field.
I think there will be. I really do. I think it's coming.
Because you see there are basics to almost everybody's approach to ghost hunting. I mean, you're bringing along a voice recorder, you're bringing along video equipment or a digital camera, you're bringing along, in some cases, thermal cameras or infrared cameras. Right. It seems like there isn't too much deviating from a basic formula of how to ghost hunt. And you would think that in an academic setting, you'd be able to expound on it, maybe even come up with new theories as to how to capture a ghost's image or its voice on film or a recording?
Well, one thing that I can tell you that I find hopeful is this. I just got asked recently to become part of what is called the Cold Case Research Institute. And there's a school here in Atlanta called Bauder College, and what they did was they have got a criminal justice department, and they look at cold cases, at various cold cases, as part of their curriculum. Mm-hmm. And I was completely surprised when they called and invited me to be a part of their current case that they're exploring, and actually welcomed me with open arms. Now, they're going big time with this whole Cold Case Research Institute. They've gotten Auburn University in Alabama interested in joining, and several other academic institutions around the world who have weighed in on this. And one of the things that I told them was, I, as the psychic or the psychic profiler, whatever word you want to use, paranormal, don't want to be your dirty little secret. And that has not been the case. They have been very open. And the academic world, surprisingly enough, so far has been very receptive to the fact that that be one of the components within this Cold Case Research Institute. So maybe we are making progress.
Well, and another thing, Chip, if I can chime in just a little bit, there is a young man that I'm working with. His name is Ben Freiman, and he is an artist. He belongs to this Generation Next, and what he's doing is he's taking art objects. Recently, we've been working together now for about 2 years. He took and with his art talent and created this puppet. It's a robotic puppet. It looks like a young female, very realistic. He used real hair and everything in developing her, puts her in a wheelchair, and then opens up inside her head. He puts this equipment where when we get the EVPs, her jaw will actually move. And we went into the TB hospital in Paris, Kentucky, and we did several nights of this investigation, and actually got EVPs to come through where her jaw did move. Now, the thing that he's done is he's creating a whole new genre for art, and it's the Paranormal Sculpture Project.
Patty, that also sounds kind of creepy and weird to me.
Oh, it was awesome. And the Lexington Art League is now featuring him.
I think Norman Bates did something like that years ago, didn't he?
Who?
Norman Bates?
Oh, don't put me in that
Oh,
category.
my goodness. Well, come on. That sounds a little creepy. He's
But,
carving children puppets with real hair. That's kind of weird, man. That's,
it is so good. Well, and did he
I
make
guess
a-
I'd have to see it. It just sounds. You got to
Oh,
understand it as you're explaining it. I'm picturing a cross between the new Saw movies, that creepy
my
puppet
God.
thing,
Well,
and Mother sitting in the chair in Norman Bates' time.
Well, he made a film, and the film won some awards, and he's starting to really climb the ladder in the art field. And if you go to my website, you will see his link, and on his website, you can actually watch the video. It's really creepy. It's kind of neat. It's entertaining, and it's also educational. And we're setting up some new projects. We're going in with some different equipment and some different art pieces just to see how we can involve, with the paranormal, just how we can bring more interest into this field. Sort
of gives a new meaning to the whole thing with dealing with different aspects of the whole realm.
It really does. And it gives it,
Just let me say right now, Tim, no, you can't bring an inflatable doll on the paranormal investigation at Waverly.
Come on, I'll make her jaws move.
No. Oh, no.
I can see it now.
No, I don't want to see it now, so let's change the subject.
It's an image that's going to take years of therapy to get out of my head, Cam.
You guys,
Bad touch.
swear.
Bad touch. All right, let's talk real quickly about. I'm still freaked out by the puppet with real hair.
That freaked me out the first time I saw the photographs of it too. I'll be the first one to tell you that. I was
first of all, plus I'm not a big fan of creepy dolls anyway. But to know this one's actually communicating and its mouth opens and spirit voices are coming out. That's...
And what scares me is, what if the damn thing gets up and starts moving on its own? I'm out of there.
That's what lighter fluid and matches are for, Chip.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Yeah, but what a discovery! If that's going to happen, I'm hoping that I'll be the first one to witness it.
I think we should get Depends undergarments to be our sponsors on these things, because I'll tell you, if dolls start walking and talking to me. Hi, I'm Dave Schrader from Darkness on the Edge of Town, and when I go paranormal investigating, I always depend on my Depends. Yeah, that's where we should be. Now, of course, I'm probably going to get sued from Depends for picking on them. I'm not picking on them. I think they'd be a very integral part of your paranormal investigative
It gives a whole new meaning to looking at phantom odors, though, doesn't it?
That is true. Now, you've done Waverly Hills a couple times, and just recently you were out there, and I heard you guys had some pretty crazy experiences going on. Patti, can you tell us, now, first of all, give us your experiences. How many times have you been there yourself?
Well, I've been with my group, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, but normally when we went, when we started going, it was a bit territorial, so we weren't really allowed to go where we wanted to go. It was more like a tour, and we could take pictures, and we could carry our, our audio equipment and that type of thing. We didn't actually get to completely do a full-blown investigation until, about April, about the last part of April, which was interesting. But in the things that we've captured, I know we captured a vortex, an awesome vortex on video in one of the rooms. And then also we've gotten some interesting things in our film. And of course, you see a lot of stuff with your natural eye, and you have a lot of experience that you don't necessarily maybe capture in film or audio.
Now, for our newer ghost hunters, what's a vortex, and how do you recognize it when you see it on video or in a picture?
In a video or a photo, it looks like a little white tornado, really, and sometimes you can see through the shaft, and you'll see movement, oscillation as it's going through. We feel like that. What we've done is we've captured the energy. We can't see it with our natural eye, but because the light frequency in the cameras sees a different level of light than our own eyes, that camera will pick it up, and it will show us this activity that's around us that we can't see. And sometimes it does show up in the form of a vortex.
Are we getting EVPs of hellhounds?
Oh, yes.
You're hearing my dogs bark in the background.
Jeez, that's creepy. Well, a lot of people, if I'm correct, a lot of people that mistake vortex pictures, it's usually their camera strap in front of the camera lens. Is that what you're kind of talking about? I know you're talking about real vortexes,
right,
but that's that kind of look, that white tornado
looking thing. Yeah, that's that kind of look, yeah. And when I was doing my 35 millimeters, none of my 35 millimeter cameras had straps. But, of course, when you have a digital, you better have that strap around your arm or your hand, because you drop a digital and it's gone. You could drop a 35 millimeter camera and pick it up and dust it off and use it again. But you can't do that. So I always have my strap around my arm, and I always tell anyone that I'm instructing in doing so with your camera to always make sure that strap is around your arm or either around your neck, so that it doesn't get in the way. Then that way when people do say, oh, well, that looks like a camera strap, you can explain to them that it was eliminated. There was no camera strap.
One of the things that we got on the last visit when I was there with Patti this past April was we got some very interesting EVP when we were there, and one of the things that we captured, if you remember, one of the members, Jana Van Dyke, who is from Atlanta, she got a very compelling video where there's someone who actually appears to walk out of a doorway and then pull back into the doorway, and figuring out who was actually there with us and where people were stationed at the time that the video was captured.
Right.
We can't figure that there's anybody around on that floor with us because we were secluded by groups to the individual floors in the facility, and everybody's kind of present and accounted for where they were standing, and there was nobody in that doorway, so we can't figure out who or what it was, the humanoid shape that appears to come out the doorway partway and then back into the doorway.
Right. And then on another occasion that we went, I was helping one of my members with her camera. She'd gotten a new infrared camera. And it kept going off, and we couldn't get it to work. And so she took a picture and just got like the side of me standing beside her. But in front of us, we also have a headless apparition. It was totally headless,
And that was another. Yeah, that's creepy. We got to take our second break here.
That was another great capture.
Yeah, I would say so. We've got to take our second break of the evening. For those of you tuning in, you're listening to Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show with our guests Patti Starr and Chip Coffey. We'll be back with more right after this.
It will keep you on the edge of your seat.
I must have drank me about 15 Dr. Peppers.
I gotta pay.
Just don't get any on the floor. Hurry back. There is more to come from the darkness on the edge of town.
For 58 years, Fate has consistently supplied its loyal readership with a broad array of true reports of the strange and unknown. Fate is a factual magazine containing articles by experts in all walks of life, and by others just like you who have something dynamic, significant, and truthful to say. Keep up with the latest on angels and miracles, psychic phenomena, ghosts, UFOs, archaeological hotspots, alternative science, and much, much more. To receive your free Fate magazine, call now at 1-800-728-2730 or visit our website at www.fatemag.com. That's 1-800-728-2730 or www.fatemag.com. What are you waiting for? Your fate awaits.
If you read Taps Paramag every month, you'll be able to tell the difference between the absurd
Could not go to work because Bigfoot stole my car.
and the creepy. Taps Paramag takes you where few would ever go on purpose. From exclusive interviews with the cast of The Ghost Hunters to the latest trends in technology in the field of the paranormal. To join our journey, order at tapsparamag.com.
Are you tired of reading about what couple in Hollywood is breaking up or divorcing? Have you ever wondered where you can find the news that covers the subjects that you are really interested in? I would like to invite you to visit supernaturalnews.com. Supernatural News uses the latest internet technology to search for the topics we know you will be interested in reading. News of the latest Bigfoot, UFO, or Loch Ness Monster sightings. Read about the latest conspiracy theories and urban legends. Supernatural News, where belief and reality merge.
Try not to fall asleep. We'll only give you nightmares. Welcome back to the darkness on the edge of town.
Good evening and welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, along with me, Tim Dennis, co-host and producer extraordinaire. And our guests this evening are Patti Starr and Mr. Chip Coffey. I always want to say Chip Douglas. I got to get over that. Got my three sons on the brain here.
Oh, yeah.
And you are with Ghost Chasers International, correct?
We both are. Patty's,
right.
Patty's actually the big kahuna.
The big kahuna. Now, for people that want to find more information on you, you've got the coolest website address ever. You've got ghosthunter.com.
Yes, I love that address. I bought it like years ago, and I'm glad I was smart enough to think to get it. So
yeah,
I'm
boy.
really excited about that. Yeah, and it's easy. You know,
I know these couple of plumbers who'd probably like to buy it from you. Yeah. Let's discuss a little bit more now with Waverly Hills. So when you guys were out there, now, Patti, when you've investigated Waverly, have you ever felt frightened for yourself?
Well, I very rarely go into a situation where I do, and I think it's because of all the preparation I do before I get there. Now, I have been startled. I've been pushed and pulled in my hair yank, of course. I've been pinched.
Well, I'm not talking about hanging out with Chip. I mean, when you're ghost hunting.
Yeah, that's right. But I tried a different technique. I'm trying some different techniques when I go into a haunted location now. I'm trying to raise the energy just by some of the information that I'm getting through my investigations from the ghosts, the spirits that are there. And it seems like when I do raise the energy level, it just our results are a lot better in what we're trying to capture. I do know that I've started actually hearing them before they speak, and then I record while I'm there, and then I'll acknowledge that I heard it. And I did get the name Timmy, which is the little boy that's there, and it was just a female voice. It said Timmy, and then I immediately said, okay, I got the female voice Timmy. We played it back, and you could hear it's a very light Timmy, and then you can hear me explaining that I got that. So I don't really get like frightened or scared. I do, like I said, sometimes I get startled, but sometimes I feel like if you get frightened or scared, it could contaminate what you're out there doing. And I like to look at a lot of what I do is research, and I'm trying to collect data, and I really want to do the best I can do. And if I get scared, I'm not going to be any good to anybody. So I really don't really feel like I get scared a lot.
All right, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm just curious because, a lot of people have got concerns about going to Waverly. The stories and the legends seem to really kind of grow with it all the time, and I just didn't know if there was as much to really be afraid of. I mean, do you find in most paranormal investigations there's really nothing to be afraid of? It's just...
I do. I really do. I mean, I just don't... I'm not saying that there's not, evil or demonic or anything negative. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I am saying that I have not seen hardly any of it. You know, it's compared to what Hollywood would have us to believe with all the horror movies and you know, possessions and that type of thing. No.
But I will tell you one thing: Waverly is creepy.
Oh, yes, it is very creepy. I mean, you're going to get your money's worth, that's for sure.
Okay.
And one of the things that I will tell you is this. I know that you've got the upcoming trip coming up, and there are certain meccas for ghost hunters. You know, a lot of people want to go to explore Gettysburg. A lot of people want to go to the Stanley. They want to go to the Queen Mary. They want to go to Waverly Hills and the Myrtles, and there are those places that people really are drawn to. And Patti said this to me many times. She said, I really don't believe that you can call yourself a real true ghost hunter until you've explored the Waverly.
Oh, really? I love the Waverly. It's awesome, especially the visuals that you see. You see tons of stuff with your natural eye, and I think that's really convincing for a lot of people when they're walking down those halls and they can see people literally walking in and out the doors there. Many, many people see that, experience that.
Wow. Now, Chip, you're a psychic sensitive.
Yeah.
We've been debating on the show over the last couple of weeks the existence of ghosts and what they could or could not be. Do you get the feel, I mean, in all honesty, do you get the feel that ghosts are truly dead spirits that just don't know where they belong? Or are you actually, do you think maybe you're just seeing through the veil of time to a reality that's still going on, but it's just like you've got a window right there that you're able to see through a little more clearly?
I think A and B.
Okay.
I do too. I agree with you, Chip.
I think that it can be. I think that it can be. I don't think that it's an either or. I think that it's an and.
I do too.
I think that it's an and situation. That things that we don't even begin to we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So I think that it's a situation where it can be that it's a spirit who has just not made that complete transition from one state of being to another. Mm-hmm. It can be a window to what's going on as far as residual things. I think that, as Patti mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that there are different types of hauntings that go on. So I think that all of the, you know, you've got to suspend total disbelief and look at the circumstance for what it is. And we may never understand it in our lifetime. All we can do is just look at it, document it, and move ahead and try as we will to explain it, but not deny that it's happened.
Right. Very good.
Where would you say, both of you, of places that you've investigated, where would you say would fall probably the number one? And, you know, even if it's a personal home, you can tell us that without telling us the name of the people. But, I mean, where do you feel is probably one of the most paranormally active spots that you've ever investigated?
For me, I would say that it would have to be the Talbot Tavern in Bardstown, Kentucky. And that's only because I've been doing...
Say that again. You kind of crackled a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called the Talbot Tavern.
The Talbot Tavern?
In Bardstown, Kentucky. And I do my ghost trek there, but because I worked there, I was the general manager there for 3 years, and in that 3 years it caught on fire and was devastated. It was almost ruined, and it took them 2 years before they could even decide whether or not they were going to rebuild. But I continued to stay on, and I did investigations for like a whole year every weekend. And then now with my ghost walk, I'm there every weekend from June until October, and they've gotten to really know me, and they really respond to me. And I think that is just so awesome that I can get, you know, we have motion detector cameras that go off, and I can ask them to do certain things, and they do that. And when I do ask them, again, like I'm saying, I don't want them like to be performing, but there's a little girl that's very active there. And believe it or not, we do have a spirit that claims to be Jesse James. And there's a lot of Jesse James history there. And the walkers love all the stories that we have that connects Jesse to the place. He shot up the place one time. There's even bullet holes there, supposedly from, you know, where he shot up the place. So there's just so much that happens there, and if I ever want to wow anybody,
right,
like the TV shows or anything, that's where I take them, because they'll see it, they'll record it, they'll hear it.
That might be a place you want to think about doing an event, Dave.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air and see if it's big enough to
sure,
to do an event there. And you know, that's one thing, Patti, I'd love to talk to you about too off air, with all of your experience and it being right in your neck of the woods, we'd love to have you come out to Waverly with us and hang out and maybe be part of the ghost hunts if you'd have an interest in that.
Let me think. Oh, yeah.
You sound like Tim and I at a half-off sale at the donut factory down the street. Woo! We're there.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, we'd love to have you out there for it. So,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great to get to meet you in person and kind of hear your guys' experiences with the paranormal out there as well.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I love it.
Now,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so with all the different investigations that you've been a part of, you said Talbot Tavern is definitely one of the more haunted places. If you could tell us both, and why don't we start off, Chip, give us what, out of all the investigations you've done, what has been the best visual piece of evidence you've ever seen for yourself? Maybe not even on video, but I mean that you saw either after reviewing on video or saw it live in person. And also, what is the most profound psychic event that you've had happen? We have about 5 minutes, so I'd like to try to have you both address that.
Okay, I'll go really quick and tell you that probably the most exciting adventure that I've ever gone on is some of the first ghost hunts I ever went on with Patti Starr, and that was in Lexington, Kentucky, at a place called the Bishop's House. And one of the things I saw, my first as a professional, put that in quotation marks, ghost hunter, I saw my first full-blown apparition of a little girl in the foyer of the house. She comes to me every time I go to that house and visits with me, comes to me. There's video of her coming to me as an orb, and there's a great orb debate, but this orb actually comes and floats over my hand for a certain amount of time, encircles my body, and comes right to me. Now, at another time while I was at the house, her spirit came to me, and she was making a light bulb, a bare light bulb that was hanging overhead, go on and off. And the curious thing about that was there was no electricity going to the light bulb.
Wow. Okay.
So that was probably one of the most compelling, freaky, if you will, sort of things that's ever happened to me. And that was just a very exciting sort of thing. When that light bulb was going on and off, it was, and I found out there was no electricity to it. That was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, well, that's a pretty good one. How about psychically, though? What's the most, have you ever just gone into a place and just been crushed by the amount of psychic activity going on there with the paranormal?
Actually, I've gone in on an investigation during a taping of Paranormal State, the show that's coming out sometime soon that stars the folks from PRS at Penn State. I actually went on an investigation with them and actually went into a house and actually had to go out of the house. The psychic energy was so assaulting to me, and at one point in time, the family that came into an area where I was at, I'd not seen all four of the family members together. I'd seen them sort of independently, and when all four of them got together, the energy that was around them, and this was very negative energy, was so assaultive that I had to go out of the seat that I was at. I started to get physically ill and made a beeline for the men's room, and my good friend Andrew Calder came and doused me down with holy water, because whatever the energy was that was around those people was so palpable that it was physically making me ill. That psychically was probably the time that I could say that I was most overwhelmed from a psychic perspective during a ghost hunt.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty impressive. Now, how about you, Patty? We've got about 2 minutes left. What do you think has probably been the most impressive paranormal activity that you've ever seen, witnessed visually yourself?
Well, I don't know so much about visually, but I will give you the one. I do dowsing in the old TB hospital in the Paris, Kentucky area. I was walking down a hallway dowsing with these L-shaped dowsing rods in my hand, and they were leading me to where I could best communicate with the spirit. And as I'm dowsing, I got pushed, and I fell up against the wall. But I composed myself, and I continued to walk, and I was led into this room where I started asking yes and no questions. And my dowsing rods would actually bob up and down for yes, or they would swing back and forth for no. And as I'm asking questions, I confirmed that I had a young man, a man, 35 years old, married, 5 children, that type of thing. And then I just said, oh, my gosh, are you the one that pushed me in the hall? And my rod started bouncing really, really big. And then when I got home and listened to my recorder, I got a definite yeah. And then I also asked, there was another psychic with me, a friend of ours, and I also asked him if he was picking up any names. Jason asked, does your name start with a D? Is it David? Is that what it is? And we got the same yes. And what thrilled me is the fact that we could ask these questions, get a validation with a metaphysical tool like the dowsing rod, and then get an EVP that backed up the same answer that we got with that. So for me, I guess that would be visual because, I'm watching my rods move. But for me, that was very exciting. And as far as the psychic part goes, I did, what happened was in one of my ghost investigations, there was a manager that came downstairs, and this again is at the Talbot Tavern, and he just started talking with me, and I started getting a spirit to come through that had only been past 4 years, and I was a little confused at that, because usually in these older places, I would always get these spirits that have been there for a very long time. And as I started describing this person, I said, oh, my gosh, I'm picking up a male. He's been past 4 years. He used to work here. He worked in the kitchen. He was 17 years old when he worked here. And I'm like, wow, does that sound like anything that you can relate to? And the guy said, that's my best friend. He died 4 years ago, and he was in a car accident and blah, blah, blah. Wow. And then I asked, if you're still in the room, can you make the meter go off? And the meter went way off, and as the meter's going off, he answers me by saying yes, that he was still in the room. And then I asked him if he could make a form, and he told me, I can't really give one. So we got to record that whole entire session. And for me, I guess that was just so powerful, because then at that point I realized that I could pick up other spirits, not just the spirits that were stuck there.
Well, guys, as you can hear by the music, we've run out of time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate having you on the show tonight. It's been a delight meeting and talking to you, Patti. We'll hopefully see you at Waverly. Chip, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back for our second hour with Heidi Hollis right after this.